morning. Spring football has begun. The ladies have their Sweet 16. The NCAA numbers are in. We'll talk more about this really tomorrow with Joe Denk. But viewership up about 6% across the board. So that is a good thing. The Grizz lose big. Again, a good thing. And guess who's coming back tonight? Tiger Woods. TGL, best of 3 championship series. Jupiter lost to LA last night by 1. Tiger is the Jupiter captain coming back. Can he even things up? Because I think they would play 2 matches tonight if needed, and we'll get our champion. Mickey Barker makes his debut. He'll be part of the pick-and crew that will begin right before Augusta. But we're just going to talk to him about the Tiger comeback and a lot of things, all golf, and updates on Memphis Public Golf, which once again will be a sponsor of this program. And we look forward to talking with him. Ron Higgins on the NCAA tournament. And then Jason Munz from the Commercial Appeal. He will chat with us about the Tigers press conference last week, about who's coming back, and all things Memphis Tigers basketball. So the Grizz lose last night in Atlanta. They lost by 39 points, 146-107. They were down double digits in the first quarter and never recovered. So they lost 11 of 12. If you looked at last night's starting roster, I swear to you, Landon Schmidt, welcome back. I swear to you that looked like the roster, the starters for the Memphis Hustle at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, that's how it's looked for the past few weeks. I don't even know what to make of it anymore. I really don't.
I mean, the only thing better really might be if they brought the whole University of Hawaii team here, maybe.
I think so.
You'd be interested then for sure. I know.
I'd be at every game.
Yeah. 2 medals yesterday for Hawaii. Come on now. Come on.
2 medals? I thought I only gave you 1.
No, you gave us 2. One,
I know I gave you 1 for men's volleyball.
Yeah, there was one other, I thought.
I thought I only just gave you the 1.
I think there was another one that was fringy.
I think you're combining weeks. Maybe when they made the NCAA tournament.
They're both, Jerry Newsom gave them. There were 2 in there.
Let me double check.
I can't remember what exactly they were, but nonetheless, Grizz are getting enough ping pong. But I hope they can get to the point where they can get Acuff. Acuff, to me, I've said this since I saw him in the preseason when Calipari brought his team for that for the St. Jude fundraiser. I just think that kid's going to be outstanding. I mean, you give him the ball to win games, and he wants the ball, and they can't stop him. And that's the way he's going to be in the NBA. I know it'll be tougher, but I believe it's going to translate. I think he's going to be great wherever he will go. But, boy, it was ugly last night. So the Grizz have now lost 11 of their last 12. The tank is absolutely doing its job. Charles Huff won another press conference yesterday. Can't wait to see this guy coach because he's great. And he even joked yesterday, he goes, I should just retire right now because I'm undefeated. And he's undefeated in press conferences. I've seen him 3 times now, and he just is delightful every time he goes out there. And he went through the process of really what spring is like, especially in this day and age with all these new players coming in. He's got 55 transfers. He's got some freshmen, so that's ingratiating a whole bunch of new guys about how you start. It all begins with film session and then drills and getting everybody on the same page, and then into specifics for guys once they've figured out where their roles are going to be. It's intriguing, and you can understand when you're building a team how important these basic things are that you've got to identify in a very quick time. I mean, you've got a great athlete, let's just say, but you've got to figure out what his limitations are, how you can make him better, how that will absolutely fit into the picture of the entire team. And the guys that can do that and identify it as quickly as possible so that you can practice it more efficiently are the ones that are going to be successful. It's going to be fun to watch. It's also the first time we got to meet all the coordinators yesterday. Guidry, Decker, the special teams coach, and the new strength coach. And I got to tell you, I've not seen more articulate, entertaining, funny coordinators ever. It's unfortunate, but this is the Charles Huff process. You don't get to talk to them again. Maybe in the fall, but it was the Ryan Silverfield practice that he spoke on Mondays, and then he had offensive coordinator on Tuesdays and defensive coordinator on Thursdays, and I might be making it up, but you got access to each of the offensive and defensive coordinators every week. I don't know if that will be the case with Charles, but these guys could certainly do the job. They were outstanding. And I don't know what the ground rules for the media will be like in the fall, but we've gotten them for the spring, and there's going to be a lot of access to Charles and to players. That'll be nice, but not to the coordinators who were great. The press conference lasted almost 2 hours yesterday. I've never seen one that long. It was really an insightful one, and I look forward to this Charles Huff era. If he can coach half as good as he can talk and hire coordinators, then this is going to be a fun era. That is for sure. Women's basketball last night, Syracuse was a 5 seed. They had to go to Storrs, Connecticut to play number 1 UConn. Never a good plan. At the half, they were down 65-12, 53 points. They played even in the second half, 53 points. The final was 98-45. That is the 5th time in 7 tournaments that Syracuse has gone to Storrs to see their journey come to an end. Their coach absolutely blasted the system. And I really can't blame Levichak. That is her last name. She, Felicia Levichak, is basically saying, my kids they had 22 wins this year. They were a 5 seed. They don't deserve to have to go to Storrs. And I'm with her here. There were 16 regions, all the better seeds getting home court advantage. Out of the 16 regions, 14 won. You're not going to get the same kind of upsets. I should point out there were 2 upsets. Notre Dame did upset number 3 Ohio State. They were a 6 seed. And then this was the biggest one. Number 10 Virginia upset number 2 Iowa in double overtime. That place was packed. But the rest was chalk. So 14 out of 16 regions go to the home team. I don't believe that the NCAA women's tournament is valid until they do like the men. They go to neutral sites. Then it's fair. It's just not fair. And I'm not saying Connecticut's got a super team. They won 30 games in a row. I'm not saying they wouldn't have won this game, but I don't think it would have been 65-12 at the half if that was on a neutral. Speaking of which, 2 quick things. Freed Hardeman, just outside of Jackson, they won last night. They've won 31 games in a row. They got several Memphians on their team. They will play for the NAIA championship in Kansas City. I think it might be today or tomorrow, but they're in the championship game. So the Memphis area may get a national champion in NAIA. So we got a basketball hope there. The women, their number 1 seed, lost in the semis last night. They got a heck of a program in the NAIA with Freed Hardeman. Last thing, heartwarming, last night, the Texas Rangers are in the 5th inning of a game, and they've got a guy who's never pitched above Double-A. Carter Baumler is his name. He gets 2 outs in the inning. He's in the 5th. Out comes Skip Schumacher, the skipper. And Baumler thinks, okay, I guess I must have reached my pitch limit. I mean, he's coming to take me out of the game. Everybody is called in from the infield. They gather around the mound, and Schumacher says, "Kid, you made the team." I just thought that was beautiful. What a great way to make it special. Saying basically, kid, you've just become a big leaguer. I love it. I really do. Let's talk to a big leaguer of golf, the guy who I think transformed Memphis public golf in the city in his tenure here, Mickey Barker, superintendent, man overall public golf, joins us now. What is your official title, Mickey? I'm always confused about that.
Administrator of golf.
Administrator of golf. Well, you should be
Good morning,
you
Dave.
should be czar of Memphis Public Golf, as far as I'm concerned.
I don't know about that.
All right, the news was leaked out last night. Tiger Woods coming back tonight. What's he going to do, Mickey?
He will, more than likely, knowing Tiger, he'll probably make the last putt and get him to the finals. It'll be dramatic, I'm sure.
I can't wait. Does this mean in your mind that he's going to play in Augusta now? Because you got to walk Augusta. In TGL, you just got to walk like 30 steps from the mat to that to the artificial putting green.
Right, I definitely think he's going to play in the Masters. I don't think he would have played in these finals if he wasn't planning on playing at Augusta. So yeah, I think he'll be there for sure.
Well, I for one, and I think most of the golf world will be tuned into ESPN tonight to see if Tiger Woods has any kind of swing or competitive abilities left. Because we would, I mean, wouldn't that be the greatest story of the year? Just right out of the chutes, if he won again at Augusta, and what would that be? His 16th major?
That would be 16 majors, and that would be his 6th green jacket, which would tie Jack Nicklaus. I think to win at Augusta would be quite a stretch. Obviously, you don't want to count him out to do anything, but I think just competing 4 rounds would be a major win. He could get through, make the cut and play all 4 rounds.
I think if he made the cut, it would be unreal. I really do.
Absolutely.
Because the guy's 50, right? I mean, he's. I think he's. If he isn't, he's close. Because
no, he turned 50 on December 31st.
Right. So that makes you wonder. Does he start to compete where he could win more majors as a senior? When does that happen? Is this is a kind of a preview, a lookie to see if this guy's going to compete on the seniors for more majors on that circuit?
He said that he was planning to play some of the senior events. He would ride a golf cart on the senior tour.
Right.
He said that he would not ride, where he would have the availability to do that on the regular tour, but said that he would not do that. He doesn't think that's correct. So he would ride on the senior tour. So yeah, he'll probably play later on in the year.
Wait a second, clarify that for me. I did not think you were ever allowed to ride on a PGA Tour event. I go back to what was the guy who had a debilitating handicap?
It was Casey Martin.
Martin.
It was Casey Martin. He was Tiger's teammate at Stanford.
Right.
And he won the lawsuit against the PGA Tour. And they are allowed, under extreme circumstances, they can take a cart. But Tiger said that he just would not do that.
Do you remember anybody doing that at a PGA Tour event?
Other than Casey Martin, I don't. I don't remember anybody doing it.
Me neither.
But he did for a while he was still eligible to play on the tour.
Wow! So he took him to court and won, and that's what the precedent is that could allow Tiger to use a cart if he needed to. And I guarantee you, any sponsor's exemption he wants for that, they'd give him.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, he's a lifetime member, of the regular tour, so he could play any event he wanted.
That's right.
Even and the elevated event, they would give him the sponsor's exemption for sure, but he won't do it.
All right, as we start this new year, it's not so new anymore. We discussed Scotty Scheffler win early and then struggle, especially opening rounds, kind of crazy, and a driver that has all of a sudden gone to the right every time with that cut that gets over-exaggerated. That is one storyline. Give me your favorite storylines, but let's begin with Scotty. What do you think's going on there?
I don't. It's just one of those little bit of a valley. We're saying that he's struggling, but he's finished. He hasn't finished out of the top 25 in the last 3 events, and so just not to the level that we're used to him playing. The driver has been a little bit of the problem. He's gained some yardage early in the year. He's hitting it. He was driving at 330, 340, which kind of is the norm out there now, and he kind of moved up to everybody, but it's not as accurate as it had been in the last few years. But I think you'll probably see a different Scotty this week at the Houston Open. He loves the golf course and always plays well there. So it'd be kind of interesting to see how he plays this week.
Any other any things you're looking forward to, players or rules or anything that come to mind that you think are going to be a part of the landscape of golf this year?
Well, I think the big thing that I'm interested in is they're making the way for some of the live guys to come back. Koepka came back already. Patrick Reed is coming back in August. This is strictly my opinion, but I think you'll see DeChambeau come back probably after this year, probably in 2027. He's going to be an interesting at the Masters. He's playing is probably as good or better than anybody in the world right now, and he's played well recently at the Masters. So he's the one that I'm looking forward to watching there and seeing what happens. But going forward, yeah, who all is going to come back from live?
So that's interesting that you say that. I did not know Reed for sure was coming back in August, so he'll have to pay the same kind of penalties that Koepka did, $5 million to charity right off the bat, no share of the revenue. I mean, Koepka is earmarked to lose up to $50 million. Patrick Reed agreed to those terms? Because he was not... Go ahead.
Yeah, he's coming back under a little different program. He's coming back basically sitting out a year. He hasn't played live since last August, and so he's sitting out a year. I haven't heard the disclosure on any type of penalties that he might have to play, but he's currently playing the DP World Tour. I think he's leading that tour so far. He's won a couple times, finished second. But yeah, he's coming back under a different plan that Brian Rowlap set out.
I knew he had left live, and I knew he was playing only the DP World Tour events. And guys like John Rahm, I don't think he's playing the DP World events because he doesn't want to pay the fines that he would have to live. That's kind of weird, and I hope that the only guys I'm really interested in seeing are DeChambeau and Rahm off that tour. And they were the only ones that were allowed acceptance the way Koepka came back with Koepka under the guidelines that return program spelled out. But that was supposed to end. It was a 2-week deal, one time only. Are they going to change the rules? Are they going to allow him back in, you think?
I'm not sure exactly how that may work with those two. I think DeChambeau's probably trying to work out his YouTube deal with the PGA Tour to figure out how they can make that work as well, because he's probably making more on YouTube than he is on the Live Tour. His content out there is unbelievable.
I know. He's making tens of millions off of that.
Sure.
I'm with you. I mean, he's won 2 in a row on Live now. And that is not the PGA Tour in terms of a competitive level, but he is playing at an incredible level, and he beat John Rahm, who's still one heck of a competitor, no doubt about that, in the last one in a playoff. Is he the favorite for the Masters? And if he's not, who would you think is?
Well, the odds have Scheffler at 3-1. DeChambeau's in the top, is maybe 10-1, something like that. I heard yesterday. I think DeChambeau probably is the favorite, but it's really going to be tough to beat Scheffler there at a golf course he plays so well.
Rory, I think you got to put into the mix in all of this. I can't really think of anybody that would come to mind. I think
Schauffele is playing really, really well. He finished with 65 on Sunday at a really hard golf course. He's had a lot of top 5 finishes recently. He plays well at Augusta also. So I think he's going to be a real contender there as well.
What do you make of TGL? You think that's something that's going to stick around?
I think so. I think as long as Tiger's involved and ESPN's involved, yeah, I think it'll hang around. I don't watch it much. I watch the highlights, on Instagram or somewhere like that. But it's very interesting. It's cool. I think they set up a great night for tonight. There's no basketball. There's not much other sports going on at all tonight for their championship. So, I think it'll hang around for a while.
Do you believe that, computer? And I'm going to give you, for instance, Rory McIlroy a couple of weeks ago, I believe it was like a 385-yard drive with a 3 I want to say 60 carry or 350 carry, which I really found hard to believe. And then the next week, the guy had like a 363-yard drive, real drive on land. Do you really believe that computer is that accurate?
I think so. Yeah, I think it is. Having used some launch monitors a little bit over the recent time, yeah, it's pretty accurate. And then you see Cam Young hit a 375 on one of the toughest driving holes that they play all year. So yeah, Rory can definitely get it out there to that number.
All right. With all that said, what have we got coming up? I know you've got this new TriStar event at Pine Hill, which is an interesting format that's going to have scramble, alternate ball, and then you add the two scores together. I forget what that's called.
Aggregate.
Thank you.
Yeah,
that's a big word for me.
Together.
Aggregate. That's going to happen in April at Pine Hill. What are some of the other things? And let's just begin with any changes to golf courses, because you've been in this era of you've redone Pine Hill, you've redone Audubon, and I know you got a clubhouse coming to Audubon. Just give us any updates on what's going on with Memphis Public Golf.
Well, one of the big updates for this year is the condition of Pine Hill. It's really growing in well. We're starting to see a huge amount of play going there, especially on weekends. It's really coming into its own at this year. We look for big things there. Like I said, course condition will be as good as it's ever been this year. We're excited about what the future holds at Pine Hill. Like you said, we're working on the clubhouse at Audubon. We hope to possibly break ground in late spring of this year. It'll be about a 12 to 15 month build there. So we're excited about that. And then just the amount of play that we're getting. I mean, I was doing numbers this morning of what we've done so far in March, and we're continued to be about 11% up over last year.
Wow.
Which, after COVID, you thought, well, it's going to level out at some point. But more and more people are playing golf. And the big thing that I see is 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds out playing. It's men, women, it's all genders, all races. It's really, really great to see out, especially, late in the afternoon, you go out to Audubon to the driving range, and there'll be 50 people lined up hitting golf balls.
Yeah,
I'm not exaggerating that. We'll be from one end to the other, full, and it's really, really fun.
That is the most amazing phenomenon that I don't think I ever saw coming. I don't know if you did. That this, in the middle of the city, off pretty much Poplar Avenue, this driving range stays busy every time I am there. I don't know what the numbers are you do per week there, but they have to be the best in the city. They have to beat putt-putt for sure.
I think so. I'm not sure what kind of numbers they do, but everything we're exceeding all expectations at Audubon. We thought it would be busy, that it would be a home run, but had no idea that it would be what it is. I mean, we're wearing out range balls like crazy. We've stayed on the synthetic turf all through the winter in order to save the tee box. We're about to go onto the real grass, and the numbers are going to go through the roof as soon as we do.
Can you share those numbers? What were they last year? What do you do a week?
Let's see. So we're doing somewhere about $1,500 worth of range balls a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're doing, 100 buckets of range balls a day, something like that.
Man,
it's crazy.
That is crazy. That's beyond expectation. I heard you. Are you going to build enclosures or something of that and have TrackMan on that thing?
We are working toward that with our partnership with the Tennessee Golf Foundation, who we're partnering with for the permanent home of the first tee, Memphis, there at the clubhouse. We're working with them to the plan is to put a cover over it with technology, top tracer technology, so that you'd be able to hit balls all year long, no matter what the weather is. So we're working toward that. We're just not sure when the start date will be on it.
That is incredible. All right, you said you're up 11%. Share with us what kind of numbers you did last year, if you don't mind.
168,000 rounds total that we did last year, which a few years ago I was thinking if we can get to 150,000 rounds, we're going to be doing great. And we blew by that like crazy.
Man.
And so we hit 168 last year, and we're going to be in the 170s for sure.
What is your order? Galloway 1, Audubon 2, Fox 3, Pine 4?
That is correct. Fox Meadows is really doing a lot of rounds lately. They've closed that gap quite a bit on Audubon. Some weekends they will do more rounds than Audubon does.
Yeah.
And so, but Galloway still, remains the bell cow, if you will. They do more rounds than any of our other golf courses, but we have a lot with Audubon and Fox Meadows.
What out of your 168? What did Galloway do you last year?
We've reduced, since the renovation of Audubon, we've reduced that from a high of 55,000. They're in the mid to high 40,000. 47,000, 48,000, somewhere in there.
Wow, that's incredible. Mickey, as always, we appreciate it. We will start the week after next with our golf picks on Wednesdays. Thank you.
Sounds great, Dave.
That's our guy. That is Mickey Barker on golf. Always appreciate talking with him as I sit in the Family Leisure studio. As a reminder, you've only got another week or so with the great floor model sale going on. They got to make room for the spring thing. So what are they doing? They're giving you deep discounts on all the display models of in-stock hot tubs, the swim spas, and you're not going to get any better deals than that. So please, get on over. Tell them we sent you. You get something special. Go see Billy. Go see Lindsay. You've got to take advantage of that floor model spell for one more week at Family Leisure. We take this quick time out. We're heading to Baton Rouge. Our man, Ron Higgins, on the NCAAs and more. That comes your way in just a minute.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Sometimes I wish I had a gun.
Well, I'm armed, but before I bought one, I still went to Top Gun Academy to learn to protect myself without a gun.
How is that possible?
Top Gun's personal protection training. It's perfect if you want to protect yourself without firearms.
I don't know.
And it's perfect if you feel the need to carry a gun for self-defense, because the last thing you really want to do is shoot.
That is scary.
Not at Top Gun. It's very comfortable, and you learn to load, handle, and shoot a handgun safely. Protect yourself. Go to Top Gun Academy. They're at 2770 Witten Road.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles, ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
Rebel Nation, get the latest on everything Ole Miss sports with the Cannon Motors of Mississippi Rebel Yell Hotline. Join Rebel insiders Chuck Rounsville, Yancey Porter, and Gary Darby Monday nights at 6 as they break down the latest with the Rebels, along with even more insight from special guests. Rebel Yell Hotline, Mondays at 6 p.m. on WHBQ.
Stay up to date with everything going on in Ole Miss athletics with Rebel Yell Hotline every Monday night from 6 to 7 on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We're going to Baton Rouge. Both Ron Higgins and I are geniuses. That's all I can say, because both of us, what did we say, Ron, about Darius Acuff, about how much we liked him? I saw him in an exhibition game with Memphis in the preseason here for St. Jude. He was incredible. You mentioned when you first saw him what you thought of him about him. This is breaking news. He's become the first NCAA men's athlete to receive a major U.S. brand shoe while still in college. Apparently, he's landed the signature shoe deal with Reebok. It doesn't say how much, but he's, I guess, the first basketball player to get a Reebok shoe since John Wall, but he's the first guy ever to do it while in college. That's amazing. What do you think that nets him? Incredible. Good morning.
I guess Shaq went and got him because Shaq is involved heavily in Reebok and recruiting people. So I guess he impressed Shaq enough to say, I got to go to get this guy. Hey, he averaged 30 points a game in the first two games of this tournament.
I know.
He just steps up and makes shots. When you need him down the stretch, it's incredible. Like, I was watching a little bit of the game the other day. I mean, it's kind of tight. Just steps up and nonchalantly he hits a three. It's just it's been fun to watch him. Hopefully, get to watch a little bit more. I mean, I know they got Arizona, which is a tough task in the Sweet 16, but you never know, man. You never know. This tournament, you do never know. You don't play great, you go home.
I know you cover the women carefully because LSU is a 2 seed, and they're always a great team with Kim Mulkey. I made this point earlier. By the way, LSU beat Jacksonville at home, a 15 seed, 116-58 to make the Sweet 16. Last night, Syracuse in Storrs, Connecticut, was down 65-12 at the half and lost by 53 at UConn. It's the fifth time in 7 years that Syracuse, while making the NCAA, has seen their journey come to an end in Storrs, Connecticut. My thought on this is, if the NCAA women want this tournament to be legit, they got to play like the men do at neutral sites. Think about this, Ron. 16 home sites, 14 winners, very few upsets, more chalk all the way around with the NCAA women.
Yeah, I mean, it's the women run their business differently than the men's do. I mean, the women's deal is, I think they're still trying to grow the game, and they don't believe that people, there's certain basketball schools that are going to pack a lot of people in regionals, and they're the best schools, and so they reward them with the seat to play at home, just to make sure they have a crowd. And I think that's the way to look at it. I understand your point. I mean, you're right in your sense, but these teams kind of earned their way into a regional. LSU destroyed a couple of teams. I mean, they, beat Jacksonville, 116-58, and beat Texas Tech 101-47. And she's playing her whole bench. She's playing everybody. So I understand what you're saying. But the women move a little bit slower and stuff like that. I mean, it's not. I think they're a little more cautious about it. I think they want to make sure they have a crowd. I think that's why they do it. I mean,
well, I think they make money. I think that's the bottom line is they're making money this way. If they didn't have, and I still think as popular as they are, now like Iowa sells out all the time, LSU sells out, Tennessee used to sell out, Texas sells out their women, obviously UConn sells out their women, they have for years. I think there's enough interest that if you were to go to neutral sites like men do, I don't know if they would be filled like they are at home, honestly, but I think it would be enough. And you've got to make this more fair. It's not right for Syracuse. And hey, this Connecticut team is really good. They've won 30 in a row. He's on another streak. He's got a super team. There's no doubt about it. And they would have won the game if it was on a neutral, if it was on Mars, probably. I don't think it would have been 65-12, and it's not fair for a fifth seed, 22 wins this year. It's not fair for Syracuse to have to go and play the second round on a number one seed's home. I don't think it's right.
Yeah, well, I understand that. But I also think UConn's so good, they'd probably beat them 65, about 12, be the halftime on the neutral site. I mean, UConn's in another atmosphere. But I understand you have a legitimate point about this. It's just how soon do women want to follow if they want to take what they feel like is a risk.
Are they going to just run away from everybody? I mean, UCLA's going to have a say. They got a good team. They always do. Kim's got her team at LSU. I mean, is there and of course South Carolina? Can anybody play with Gino and that UConn team this year?
I don't think so. I mean, I think I think UCLA can be beat. I do. I think UCLA can be beat, but I don't think UConn can be beat. It is funny. The secret to UConn is they're just very fundamental and they run their stuff and they don't get rattled. They don't have particularly huge big players, and their first players aren't huge like some teams. UCLA has a big kid. Some teams, Carolina has big kids. South Carolina has big kids. I think LSU has one person 6'6", and that's it. But UConn is just, the guy's a legend. He does a great job. He recruits well. He develops them.
Oh, he's unreal.
Gino's a legend. It's like Pat Summitt's a legend.
I mean, I would have to think, and then there was Jody Conrad at Texas for all those years, and when it was the AAIW, they had Louisiana Tech had those two coaches. Those are the pioneers. But I think Gino's numbers show it. He's going to end up being the greatest of all time. And heck, this run isn't over. Let me switch quickly to the men before we run out of time. Florida on a lot of people's ballots in the final game, including mine.
Me? I died on that one, too.
I was shocked. Give me your sense of what the heck happened there.
They hadn't, I really thought, did they peak early? Did they peak in the SEC play? They lost in the tournament, got killed by Vanderbilt in the SEC tournament. And you wonder if they just peaked a little bit too early, or if they maybe just weren't good enough. But that was a shocker. And, I got to give credit where credit's due. I think we both said this. We both thought Alabama would go down in the second round, and they just absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, they did. Never in the game. Texas Tech was never in the game. Boy, did we blow that one.
If Alabama's hitting their threes, they're hard to beat. I mean, they don't play. They held them 65 points. Most of the time, Alabama doesn't play defense, but they hit their threes. They're really good, and it's interesting. The SEC teams that are left are Arkansas, Alabama, and Tennessee.
I was 39-9 in my bracket. 39-9, and that's the only one that I missed really, really bad. Alabama, by the way, is the biggest underdog in the Sweet 16 to Michigan by 9.5. Is that right? Iowa State, by the way, is a favorite 4.5 over Tennessee. Do you think both those teams survive this?
Play great. Yeah, Iowa State's played great. I can buy that. Yeah. Absolutely. Texas and
they're 7.5 underdogs to Purdue, and you forgot them because they were a play-in team. They're the Cinderella of this tournament. They're the highest seed still around at 11 in the Sweet 16.
I tell you, I really like. I think they kind of fly under the radar. It's Houston. They're kind of, they're kind of back there again, and they like to finish the job. And I think they got a pretty good shot.
Yeah, well, they are only 3.5 over Illinois, but I would take them. I agree with you. And I'm a Big Ten guy, but Houston, what they did in those first couple of rounds was really, really impressive. All right, so I'm going to ask you, put it on the line. We'll have a Final Four next week, but who do you think will be in the Final Four?
I'm going to say, let's see, Michigan State. That's a little bit of an upset. Michigan State.
That is an upset over Duke, yeah.
Michigan State.
I agree with Houston. Now that Florida's out, I think Houston will be in the Final Four. I'm with you.
Arizona, Iowa State.
I'm with you all the way on all those picks. Arizona State and Iowa State. I picked Duke, and they're still in it. And I would replace Houston with Florida for sure. That's a 2 seed over a 1. But the way Houston has played, you couldn't blame me. As always, my friend, I appreciate you. Thank you much. We'll have a Final Four when we talk next Tuesday.
All right, back to Lane Kiffin's first spring practice today.
There you go. Can't wait to hear about that. We'll talk about that next week, too. Thank you, Ron.
See ya.
That is Ron Higgins on the SEC and more. We take a quick break. Munzie joins us in a minute on that Tiger presser and a whole lot more. Who's coming back? Jason Munz has all the answers.
Welcome to Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio. The first hour of the show is brought to you by MemphisMoldInspector.com. Now, here's your host, Johnny Radio himself, John Harden.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Unlock your new go-to spot, Codes Dispensary in Steele, Missouri, just over an hour from Memphis. When you're ready for a legal, reliable option, they're right up the road. Explore the full menu of top-shelf products in-store and online. Short on time? Order ahead and cruise through the drive-thru for a quick pickup. Stack rewards while you stock up with Club Codes. Earn points for every dollar spent. Codes Dispensary, now open in Steele, Missouri. Supreme cannabis that's worth the drive. Learn more at CodesDispensary.com. That's CodesDispensary.com.
Running a business is hard enough, but cleaning a business? Your time's too valuable for that. You need High-Low Commercial Services, dedicated professional cleaners with 15 years of cleaning experience. High-Low customizes your cleaning needs, and you get the JRD guarantee. We clean until you're satisfied. Shopping center, retail spaces, medical, legal offices, High-Low cleans it all. Visit MrCleanTeam.com. That is MrCleanTeam, MrCleanTeam.com for High-Low Commercial Services.
Memphis, ready to play golf whenever you want? Now you can. Welcome to Back Nine Golf, Memphis' premier indoor golf facility built for players who never want to leave the game. Open 24/7 for members, Back Nine Golf features 4 tour-level full-swing simulators letting you take on bucket list courses like St. Andrews, Pebble Beach, and TPC Sawgrass without leaving the Mid-South. Grab your friends, book a bay, play a full round, or hit the driving range to work on your game with instant shot data trusted by the pros. Memphis, you don't have to be a member to tee it up. Public tee times are also available. Rain, heat, wind, or daylight doesn't matter. Your tee time is always on. Visit theback9golf.com/Memphis for more information. That's theback9golf.com/Memphis. Back Nine Golf, just off Poplar at Houston Levy. The Back Nine, where golf never sleeps. Air. We breathe it naturally. Simple, right? Not so fast. The air you breathe could be hazardous to your health. Don't guess. Be sure with a phone call to the Memphis Mold Inspector, the only licensed mold assessor in the Mid-South. Call the Memphis Mold Inspector to check the air quality inside your home and office. Protect babies, pets, new homes, old homes, employees, friends, loved ones, and you. Just call 901-292-7788 for clean air and peace of mind. 901-292-7788 for the Memphis Mold Inspector.
Progressive knows that boat days can come with unexpected problems.
Oh no, I dropped my lip balm in the water. I can't think of anything worse than the looming threat of potentially having chapped lips. It was ginger vanilla too, my favorite flavor.
If a real problem comes along, your boat's protected 24/7 with Progressive, so you can keep worrying about boater problems. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in D.C.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We got some breaking news. We just talked about Scotty Scheffler in the Houston Open. He's just withdrawn. Matt Kuchar's going to replace him. No reason given except for family reasons is what the PGA Tour has said. His wife Meredith is pregnant, by the way, with the couple's second child. So I guess the next time we see him will be in Augusta, Georgia. Jason Munn's is going to join us here momentarily. He's brought to you by Ken Garland Custom Home Builders. Ken knows he's been in business for about 80 years. He and his father before him, now his son William's in the business, third generation. They know all about how to build that dream home. They all know about the details and what goes into acquiring land if that's what you need. They've got land, or if you've got land, not sure how to utilize it, they've got wisdom, 3 generations. They know every little detail that goes into it. Maybe it's renovation. You don't want to leave your lot. You really like your house, but you want the modern amenities. I call that renovation with innovation. There's absolutely nothing that they are not masters of. They know how to take that old house and put the California closets in the island, in the kitchen, the movie room with the speakers in the wall. They know it all. All the modern amenities that make that new old home a modern palace. They got it all. All you got to do is call Ken or go to the website, kengarland.com. He sees all the little details in the big picture all at once. So if you want the dream home, if you're looking for land, if you want a renovation with innovation, there's one place to go, and that would be Ken Garland Custom Home Builders. We are efforting to get a hold of Jason Munns, and apparently we are stymied. I know he wanted to talk a little bit because I chatted with him this morning already and talked a bit about the press conference. I think we were all at first sort of taken aback by Penny when Penny was asked a little bit about what, he and Dr. Ed Scott were going to do about bringing crowds back. He went on about a 9-minute soliloquy, which was all about this year and the perception of what happened to him this year and the deeds that he has put forth this past career. Going back to last year, where he was the coach of the year, won the tournament, the regular season, was a 5 seed, beat a bunch of top 25 teams. And I throw this in all the time. If you look at the Hall of Fame coaches that he's beaten along the way, you can't help but be impressed. But he didn't believe he got a fair shake, and that was a big part of that. And I know that Munzie, I think, like me, was surprised that was brought up. But that was like a cleansing for Penny Hardaway, I thought. And then we talked about who might be coming back. And we know now that Julius Thedford, the Memphian, he's coming back for sure. We know that William Wharton, who is sort of a project, a leaper. He's got, I would have to say, he's the best leaper that Memphis has had, I don't know, since, no, not Michael Wilson. There was one other guy in between who could leap like crazy. And that's what Wharton can do. He's got to become a more well-rounded player. But, he's a guy that I think you could work with. Simon Majak is a guy we're waiting on, and he's a guy that I don't think is going to be really great next year either. But in 2 years, oh, my gosh, if he can bulk up, because we see the promise with him. What's the future of Bradshaw? What's the future of a lot of these other guys? Maybe Jason Munns knows the answer to that. Oh, and P.J. Haggerty was brought up so many times. There's a bunch of conspiracy theorists who think he's coming back for sure. Jason finally does join us now. So let's check in with you right there. Who do you think for sure is coming back? What do you think of these conspiracy theories that relate to P.J. Haggerty? Good morning, Jason.
Good morning, Wolo. We know for sure Julius Thedford and William Wharton are coming back. And, based on conversations that I've had and things that I've been told, I would be very, very surprised if Quante Berry and Aaron Bradshaw don't come back as well. And it sounds like Simon Majak is very motivated to return to Memphis. I think he really, really likes it here, and everything. But there are some other factors at play in his situation that could. I mean, I think there's a better chance than not that he does come back as we sit here right now. But it could swing the other way depending on what happens with some other factors. But outside of those, I think that everything else is kind of up in the air.
So wait a second. That would be 5 of the 8. So that would mean no Ashton Hardaway, the coach's son, would not be coming back. That would be Noah Rope. That one, clearly he's a nice young man, but I don't think he can play at this level. And maybe that realization is hit. And then the other one is Givens. Now, first of all, I got to ask you this. This was the worst team in 56 years. You're telling me 5 of those guys are going to come back. Do you want all 5 and maybe a 6th? Because you haven't really mentioned about Curtis Givens, a guy who was in and out of the starting lineup, who's only a sophomore, who's from Memphis, whose dad is a good friend of Penny's.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where there are, unlike Simon, but also like Simon's situation, there are a lot of factors at play with Curtis Givens and whether or not he comes back to Memphis. I mean, so first of all, you've got the high likelihood that anybody who comes back to Memphis is going to be taking pay cut. They're going to be taking less money than they made this season at Memphis to come back, and you've got to kind of consider that when, like with everybody, it's a case by case thing, and is Curtis Givens and his camp willing to do that? And then there's also the Memphis side of it. Like, I do think that if it was strictly up to Penny Hardaway, that he would take Curtis Givens the third back in a heartbeat, but. There are just other things that you have to weigh that are part of the equation with anybody. I mean, obviously, there's a lot to consider with anybody, but especially with Curtis Givens III. So there's that. But and then to your point, and you're not the. I mean, everybody is saying this. I wrote about it today in my mailbag. Like there were a lot of people in talking about who's coming back and who's not, that are saying, why would you ever want anybody from this past season to come back when it was so bad? And that is a reasonable, rational thought to have. But we've seen what a lack of continuity can do to a team and a program. I firmly believe, and I have said this many times before, I firmly believe that a big part of the problem this past season was the fact that there was literally no carryover. Yes, Ashton Hardaway had spent his freshman season here, but he went away and he came back. I think that having only retained 3 players from one season to the next over a 3 off-season span, and that's Malcolm Dandridge, Jaden Hardaway. Those 2 carried over from one season to the next, and then Nick Jourdain from one season to the next. I think that has had a cumulative effect on this program, and you have to consider that when you are building a roster. Man, we went so long without much player retention. We've got to change that. That has to change. And I do think that was a big part of why they struggled so much this season, was the cumulative effect of not having really any carryover whatsoever from one season to the next. So, you got to think about that. But yes, you're right. You also have to think about, that's a lot of people from one team that stunk so badly. Boy, I sure hope it works. That sort of thing. Yeah. And then the PJ Haggerty thing, is it wishful thinking on the part of people who are, talking about this, or is there real merit to it. I think it's more toward the wishful thinking side, but I also do feel confident that Memphis is going to make him say no. I think that Memphis is going to pursue him. They're at least going to reach out and touch base and see if they can get some traction there. Whether that actually happens or not, we'll see.
Here's another interesting aspect to that to me. Because Ed Scott brought it up and said, I wanted P.J. Haggerty. And I think it's pretty fair to say that Memphis last year collectively had about $4.5 million in their NIL fund. But they had money for Haggerty. They had money. They've said this for Dane Danger. That's over and above. So I'd love to know what the NIL might really look like. Had they gotten those two guys, or is that 4.5 there kind of set? But wait, if you get 2-3 major guys, there's a donor or 2 or 3 with specifics that go, look, if we get this guy, we need an additional $5 million. I mean, it sounds to me like that's there. What do you think the real ceiling is on rev share and NIL?
Yeah, I think if the right plan or prospect was put in front of the right person, that Memphis could come up with enough money to make a real splash in the portal. And I also think you're talking about 4.5 and whether or not that's going to increase. I think one way or another, I feel reasonably certain that based on how obviously how things start to play out and the domino effect and all that stuff, like how that all plays out, I think is going to certainly have a lot to say whether or not Memphis' NIL budget is going to increase or rev share budget is going to increase over this past season and next season. But I do think one way or another Memphis is going to have more money to work with going into next season for next season's roster, one way or another.
To be continued, maybe even as quickly as next Tuesday. Thank you, Jason. As always, we appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Will.
You got it. That is Jason Munz from the Commercial Appeal. We are out of time tomorrow. Full show. Dennis will be here. Joe Dank. One of our last roundtable events coming up as well. We'll look forward to that. Johnny Radio, as you heard just a little bit ago, he's coming. He's right around the corner. Don't go anywhere. Have a great day, everyone.